Been a big proclamation, viewers, today. Big proclamation in Parliament. Home Minister Amit Shah has reminded the Congress and Abdullahs that Article 370 is not permanent. It is a temporary provision and therefore it can be scrapped. The BJP has made this one of its keystones in its manifesto. Article 370 that grants special autonomy to the state of Jammu and Kashmir has been a point of contention for years, and the BJP has blamed it and its enablers for the Kashmir problem, saying that because there has been no integration of Jammu and Kashmir with the larger mainstream India, it has remained distinct and it has created a sense of distance. Now listen in to what Amit Shah told the lower house of parliament today, which has sparked off this massive debate on the back of this proclamation. Listen.
सब हसनैन साहब ने कहा कि 370 है, 370 है, 370 मैं मानता हूँ हसनैन साहब 370 है, मगर आगे अस्थाई शब्द आप भूल गए हैं। ये अस्थाई है, परमानेंट नहीं है। अस्थाई शब्द आप भूल गए हैं और या तो जानबूझकर पढ़ते नहीं हैं। 370 हमारे संविधान का अस्थाई मुद्दा है, ये याद रखिएगा।
Well, Amit Shah's declaration has kickstarted a war of words between the BJP and the opposition. Listen to this.
Article 370 is a temporary and transitional provision of the Indian Constitution, and earlier it was incorporated for the very first 10 years and later on it was extended many times. It is a temporary provision and a transitional provision, and it was a constitutional blunder and it was opposed by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Sahab at that time and even Sardar Patel.
It mirrors, it reflects instrument of vexation. Whatever conditions were put by, not by a Muslim, by Maharaja. Maharaja did not make a kind of unconditional accession. Whatever is in 370, it in a way reflects whatever was in instrument of action, para 7, para 8, para 4. In any case, it is a permanent feature. It is a baseline, it is a base of relationship between the Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. So I think it is no use even just talking about 370. It is there, it has been there for 70 years, nobody can touch it, it is a permanent feature.
Here's a quick fact check of what Amit Shah has said, starting this entire debate. And this is what we found. He said that Article 370 is temporary. Well, Article 370 is temporary, he said, and the fact check works out the following. Article 370 is a temporary provision in the Constitution and grants autonomy to Jammu and Kashmir. Article 370 is drafted in Part 21 under temporary and transitional provisions of the Constitution of India. So on that score, he's right. What also did Amit Shah say? That it was Nehru's mistake to concede to the demands for separate status that has cost India. Well, Times Now fact-checked is what Mr. Nehru involved in this. Well, Nehru asked Sheikh Abdullah to consult Ambedkar to draft Article 370 in 1949. And Article 370 was drafted by Gopalaswamy Iyengar after Ambedkar refused to do it. So that is also there on record and it bears out. The next claim, Article 370 can be scrapped. Can it be? Can it not be? There are two views on this. We've done a fact check. Article 373 permits deletion by presidential order in concurrence of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. Yes, viewers. Now, some people say that it has to be in concurrence of the Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly. Well, that Constituent Assembly obviously stands dissolved. So, the view is that the J&K extant assembly will do whenever there are polls and whenever members are elected to it. So on the third count too, Mr. Amit Shah is right. A presidential proclamation order can actually, in concurrence with the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, lead to that. And if the BJP were to form a government in the state, have a majority, it may well prevail. it may well prevail. And I want to open this out tonight because this is a very interesting debate. The reason is, viewers, that Article 370 is a psychological barrier, many say, to the integration of Kashmiri minds with Indian hearts, or Kashmiri hearts with Indian minds. And I want to open this out. Therefore, if there is a push to abrogating Article 370, why should we be opposing it? Shabnam Lone, you're also a lawyer. Why don't you begin the discussion by answering this question? What's wrong with integration? What's wrong with being one India? What's wrong with the feeling and the spirit of oneness?
Well, I feel in a democracy, debate and dissent is its very soul and essence.
Sure.
Everyone is entitled to his or her view. The Home Minister gave a very blazing speech today, and he has put up a point that Article 370 is temporary. Now let me state it like this, that Article 370 being temporary or not temporary, either way, it is a minefield of legal and political complexities. You can have arguments both on and against it. So question is, how do we go about talking about Article 370? We all know that it has been the manifesto of the BJP that Article 370 will be removed by the party. However, I believe in India's democracy. I believe in its parliamentary and federal structure, and I believe that India has a very strong judicial institution.
Okay.
So as it needs debate, and there will be a lot of dissent. So the question is, should the people of Jammu and Kashmir feel threatened? I would say no, they should not feel threatened. It will be debated in the parliament threadbare. If it is passed by the parliament, the abrogation of Article 370, as you know, in I think 67 or 68,
yes,
a private member had actually moved a bill for abrogation of Article 370.
Yes, and also
at that time and what happened? It was.
It's been watered down over the years.
Let me complete one sentence. Yes, I agree. And Congress and National Conference.
How is it threatened the existence of any Kashmiri?
Psychological game, warfare with the people of Kashmir. No, I'm saying.
No, why don't you also say?
Okay, here is a message from Kashmir. Abrogate Article 370. Yes.
So you're daring.
Abrogate it.
So you're daring. You're going to whip up separatist sentiments. That's what you seem to be implying. Because that's what some of your friends,
please,
the Abdullahs have said. That is what Mehbooba Mufti has said. No one will hold the tricolour if Jammu and Kashmir special status is tinkered with. Now, I want to open this up.
No, I don't agree with them.
You don't. I'm glad.
Abdullahs and Muftis,
very good.
They have destroyed.
I'm so glad.
Very constitutional ethos.
The people who have failed Kashmir are its own leaders.
Who are they?
And I've been saying this day in and day out.
Who have benefited the most by creating this scare.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you. For once, Shabnam Lone, we are on the same page. And I salute you tonight. But I need to ask the question, therefore.
You must agree with me many more times.
I must. It might make for a welcome, more peaceable debate. Yes, indeed. Okay, Senior Vice President of the ANC, Muzaffar Shah Saab is with us. Muzaffar Shah Saab, it's a very simple proposition. If it was always meant to be a temporary provision at the time of its adoption, why continue to retain it almost 70 years later, especially when it's been watered down without any consequence? Boliye, sir. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I'm asking you a question. If it was meant to be temporary, why continue to retain it? Why continue to retain it if it was meant to be temporary?
The last bits I could not hear. Can you repeat again?
Okay, I'll come back to you. We'll try to fix that line.
Can you repeat again the last bit? I could not hear it because the voice went off.
Anand Ranganathan, it's a straight question. If it was meant to be temporary, why retain it?
Yeah. Yes, thanks very much, Rahul, for having me. First of all, Ms. Shabnam Lone, who is saying let us have a debate on this, she is the same person who refused to call Burhan Wani a terrorist. So why not we have a debate on that? The bottom line is that, as you correctly put it,
Mr. Ranganathan,
something which is temporary.
What is this here?
Excuse me.
Where does Burhan Wani come into the Article 370?
Now listen, Ms. Lone, I did not interrupt
Excuse me, sir. Shame on all of you.
Okay, one second. Now, one second. Look, let's not get diverted from the topic.
No,
we'll come back to it.
Let us have okay. I challenge you. Don't divert.
1 second.
Now listen,
Mr. Ranganathan.
Let's not filibuster. Don't filibuster. I am trying to tell you that the kind of people who think Burhan Wani was not a terrorist are wanting to have a debate on something that was declared as not please.
Sadhvi Pragya.
Let us speak. Okay, 1 second. Let him speak. Let him speak now.
Do you do this?
Shabnam Lone. Okay, let him speak.
You think you are?
The question was asked to me. Can I please?
Sadhvi Pragya.
Okay, ma'am. You can keep talking about Sadhvi Pragya till the cows come home. She's a member of parliament. You can't change that. 1 minute now. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yes.
Rahul, can you
let him finish?
Her out?
Let him finish. Yes. Anand Ranganathan.
Can you please?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Rahul, you are absolutely right. This is temporary, and there is no reason to believe that Kashmiris are special people. If you remember at the time, or as history tells you, at the time of independence, all the 500, 600, 590 odd principalities had a choice if they could go to India or Pakistan. They could not be independent. And the instrument of accession of Kashmir is very similar to many other instruments of accession. Now, when Sheikh Abdullah wanted to draw this Article 370, Nehru asked him to, as you correctly put it, go to Ambedkar. And let me quote, and you quoted Ambedkar, let me quote what Dr. Ambedkar exactly said. He said to Sheikh Abdullah, you want India to defend Kashmir, feed its people, give Kashmiris equal rights all over India. But you want to deny India and Indians all rights in Kashmir. I am the Law Minister of India. I cannot be a party to such a betrayal of national interests. Sardar Patel said Jawaharlal Nehru roega about the bringing in of Article 370. So today, I'm very happy what Mr. Amit Shah has said, and I'm sure. Now, hang on, who is interrupting me? Can I
Doesn't
please
matter,
finish?
get on with it.
Can I please
What
finish?
are you sure about?
Even though there is a clause 3, yes, even though there is a clause 3 in Article 370 to abrogate it, I think Article 368 clause 1 should be invoked, which was cruelly not invoked when Article 35A was also brought in surreptitiously, bypassing the parliament by Jawaharlal Nehru. So Amit Shah is right on both counts.
Okay.
Article 370 is temporary, it has to go, and this whole mess has been created by Jawaharlal Nehru.
Let me ask you, Mr. Devdas.
Deal with
one second, Mr. Devdas, before I bring in Mr. Kaju. Mr. Devdas, 1 minute, sir.
Can I come in, sir?
Yeah, you can come in, sir, but
I
1 second, I'm asking Mr. Devdas a question and I'll bring you in. Give me 30 seconds. 1 second.
Can I come in?
No, 1 second. Let the others speak. We have a panel tonight. 1 second. Now I want to ask you, doesn't Article 370 only contributing to creating a sort of class divide in this country between citizens, one that think of themselves as special above others, sir?
Let me just start with the points you made right at the beginning.
Right.
There is no doubt that Article 370 is a temporary measure. It was introduced as a temporary measure.
Yeah.
It says so. And the wording of Article 370 is that any law passed by India's Parliament must be ratified or repassed by the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. So clearly it was meant for those early years when the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir was to be there. But let me quibble a little about the way in which Article 370 was brought into the Constitution. I have researched it in great detail, and in my book, The Story of Kashmir, I have recorded on the basis of an eyewitness how Sheikh Abdullah took it up at the last moment, in virtually the last moment in terms of the life of the Constituent Assembly, in October 1949. And remember, the Constitution was signed in November 1949, while Nehru was in London. He took it up with Gopalaswamy Iyengar, who telexed Nehru, who gave him clearance to give whatever Sheikh Abdullah wanted, because Sheikh Abdullah was had told Gopalaswamy Iyengar, none of the 4 members from Jammu and Kashmir will sign the new constitution of India. That was something of an extremely difficult situation for the government to face at a time when the Security Council was breathing down its neck. So it is in that context that it came up.
Right?
You can use the word.
And we are continuing
you may want to
blackmail,
use the
even
word.
though, sir, Mr.
But
Devdas,
let me come to the point.
Even
that
though,
was only preliminary.
Okay, one
but
second.
to answer your point, what has happened is that both this article and the provisions for reservation, which were also meant to be temporary provisions, have become extremely volatile politically, socially sensitive.
Well, that is because a certain group of politicians in the valley have tried to use this to further their own political interests. It's become a card
in one sentence
to play. Yeah. You know, you accuse the BJP of playing the Hindu card or the Ayodhya card. These chaps in the valley, the Abdullahs and the Muftis have profited of this for years altogether.
That what we need to do is to convince the people in the state. Mind you,
sir,
I have
you cannot convince people who have vested interests.
I'm not talking about leaders.
Yes.
I am talking about common people.
Well, the common people are being misled by demagogues
who
have ruled them for 4 generations.
Media,
that is why we are having this debate. That's why we are having this debate, and that's why there are people like you who are hopefully going to Kashmir and trying to, in some way, de-radicalize some of those individuals who have fallen for this, or at least demystify what Article 370 is. Now, 1 minute. I want to bring in Mr. Karju on this. Mr. Karju, I want to ask you, because I'm going to charge certain mainstream political parties in the valley as well as separatists of blackmailing the Indian state by whipping up this issue into a frenzy and positioning it as an assault on Kashmiri identity. That is the abrogation issue.
I think, Rahul, our focus has to be on getting Kashmir into the mainstream of India. There's no doubt about its legal status. Now, over the past many decades, all governments have tried to get Kashmir somewhere or the other into the mainstream. For the last 30 years, Pakistan, through its actions of promotion of terrorism, has succeeded in creating such intrusive mechanisms that there is growing alienation in Kashmir, in the valley. Our focus has to be on staunching the flow of the Pakistani contaminant.
There you go.
All steps that are necessary to stop that flow of contaminant have to be taken.
Okay.
Now, an emotional integration between the valley and India, the rest of India, it is part of India, there is no doubt about that. But an emotional integration has to be pursued with both at the state level mechanisms as well as the popular level mechanisms.
You're absolutely right.
Now, what the Home Minister has said today is a perfectly valid constitutional point. But let me add this. I know it might annoy you and others, but let me add this. That this is not the only temporary provision in the Constitution.
True.
That's a fact.
Yes, okay. We understand.
Therefore,
there are also quotas and all of that.
Let me bring
in. Yes. Let me bring in Tom
Let me
bring in Tom Badakkan of the BJP.
Please, one last point.
One last point. Okay, Mr. Karju, make your point. Make your last point. Make it quickly.
Can I come in now, sir?
1 minute. Make it quickly.
Yes. This should become a national issue. Of consensus.
Okay.
Among all political parties.
Okay,
as long as it is a political football, it will harm our national interest.
The moment you leave it within the ambit of the politicians, it will remain, as David Devdas has said very eruditely, a political football.
We
But
want
let me bring in
politicians
Tom
who write
Badakkar.
about
Tom
political
Badakkar,
representation
I want to
of the
ask you,
nation.
sir.
From Srinagar,
You have
me
flashed
some
this
time.
Article 370 business for a while now. But when it came to it, you set it aside to share power. Why did you do that, sir? It's all very well now to say that we are against Article 370, it's temporary, you threaten this, that. Are you also using it as a cynical card? You shared power with the PDP, you put it in the back burner. Why? Why? Badakkan Sahab, why?
Rahul, each context has a reason. I would not venture into the reasons at that point of time. That was a constitutional requirement for stability of that part of our country.
Yes. Okay.
Kajuji has rightly
There's a
pointed out
constitutional
that
requirement for a state
integration
government even now.
of our
Yes.
country.
Well, you know,
One
you can decide
India.
on when. But
No,
you need one.
the
Nonetheless.
One India
No, no, I'm
concept.
not taking that on, sir, because the context has not changed at all.
No.
In fact, if anything,
Rahul, can I
if
come in?
anything, today you're in a very advantageous
context-
position.
the
Now, 1 minute.
context
I want to bring
evolves.
in.
The
I want to bring in
context
Muzaffar
is
Shah.
it
Muzaffar Shah,
evolves.
are you going to play politics and treat this
Yes,
issue as a
let me-
political football?
Yeah, thank you.
Muzaffar Shah, tell me. How long?
No.
How long?
Not at all, Mr. Rahul. Okay, now I think I'll be one of the last persons to speak on this.
Yes, go ahead.
So I hope all the panel and you will
Get on with the point. I have 30
2
seconds.
minutes to talk uninterrupted.
30 seconds, sir. I don't have that much time.
Yes.
Make your point. 30
So,
seconds. Quick.
Now, let me give some history to all of you from Kashmir.
Sir, I don't want the
Article
history. I want a
370,
commitment from you.
the basic
Will you work
draft
with
of
the
Article
center to
370.
abrogate something that is preventing
I'm
the
telling
full
you.
integration, the emotional integration?
Look here, sir.
To quote Mr. Kaju, with India of Kashmir. Simple.
No.
Yes, no. Give me a commitment.
Sir,
Give me
no
a commitment.
power-
Give me
no-
a commitment.
No power on this, no power on the earth can abrogate Article
There you go.
370.
Which is
Let me tell you that.
which is a falsehood.
Let me remind
You
them.
know,
cannot
let
abrogate
me
it.
It's a
remind
falsehood.
them-
Yeah,
Let me
let's-
remind
Anyhow,
them,
sir.
Constitution is not cast in stone.
Nonsense.
Constitution of India is
The
not
game
cast in
started.
stone. It's for the people, by the people.
the game
And what has
started.
been the
Let me tell you.
what has been the product of this Article 370?
yes,
it
sir.
has been
It is led
yes,
to-
an incompatibility of armies with
Article
Islam in
370
Kashmir. Kashmir
can
is
be
not only Kashmir
abrogated.
Valley.
Okay, I'm wrapping this up. I'm wrapping this up.
Kashmir is Kashmiri
Viewers,
This very article.
I think you made a good point, Mr. Ambardar. Okay, 1 second. I think, Mr. Ambardar, you made a good point. Yes, special status has not really changed the lives of the ordinary Kashmiri. Perhaps they need to look beyond that. Maybe special status has actually prevented big money, industry, and the energy of the mainstream India to transform Kashmir. Maybe we should think like that. We'll leave it at that. It's a long debate. It can go on for years, days, months. But thank you for watching, viewers. The news are coming up with Navika Kumar.